Welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Creighton Show. Another exciting show, definitely another exciting guest. Let me tell you about today's guest. She's known as Mikki Gogo on social media and definitely has taken the word TikTok to a whole different level. When you talk about fashion, when you talk about career, but more importantly, you're talking about showing the world that age is just a number. 83 years old, just had a birthday and still kicking ass. Let's welcome to the show the one, the only Mikki Gogo Williams. What's up, baby girl?
Hey, Andre, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. It's raining here in Indianapolis. What's the temperature like in Florida?
It's hot, as you would expect it to be in the summer, but we're managing. It's okay. It's beats the freezing snow I left in Chicago years ago.
Hey, don't knock the Midwest, man.
I love the Midwest, Andre. I love my Chicago.
Yeah, okay. Before we get started, tell the viewers a little bit about who you are before I ask my questions.
Well, that's a big one in a short show.
I know.
Where am I starting? Yeah, I grew up with a single mom in Bronx, New York. Aspired to go to college, which I did at Ithaca College, upstate New York. I was a professional dancer and a gym teacher in the time. They called them PE teachers in the old days. And I look forward to getting married, moving to the suburbs, raising 1.2 children, and living happily ever after. And as they say, Andre, when we make plans, God laughs.
I never heard that one, but I'm gonna start using that one.
Yeah. So, yeah, I married my college sweetheart. He was from Cornell. I was from Ithaca, and we settled in Fairfield County, Connecticut, and gave birth to our son, Jason, and life was perfect. When I was 29, I got a knock on the door at 2 in the morning, and a state trooper faced me and told me my husband was killed in a car accident. And I was a 29-year-old widow with a 2-year-old child and no job and very little life insurance. It's what you call a defining moment in life, Andre.
Let's start there. That was the shocking moment because up to that point, life seems to be pretty good. And like you said, about the God, uh, uh, uh,
When God makes when God makes plans, when we make plans, God laughs.
yeah, but that wasn't a laughing matter when you look at it.
Yeah.
29 years old, a mother, how did your family, were you close with your family? Were you the only child?
I'm the only child and I only had my mom and my stepdad at the time, but no other family.
I know this may sound crazy, but at 29, looking back, what was your mindset to get a knock on the door that your husband is no longer here? Like, I can't even imagine, where do you actually start to maneuver?
Well, that's kind of a blur at that point. As I reflect back, it's not, it's very clear. But I was choreographing a show at the time, Fiddler on the Roof, and the director was a very strong woman. She was actually a famous opera star at the time, Brenda Lewis Cooper. And next to my mom, she's the other female mentor I always give credit to in my life. Came over to my house and said, "You're young, you got a young kid, you got to get up, stop, you got to do what you do." So I went back to dancing and choreographing, and I filled my days and my time. I just kept, I think I would say I stepped one step ahead of my pain because I had a 2-year-old child that I'd look at every day, and there was my reality. And so I really didn't have a lot of time for self pity. I just got up and did what I could do naturally, which at the time was dancing, and then it was cooking. So one career, here I am at 83 with 15 careers behind me.
15 careers behind you. Out of those 15 careers, from 29, from going to tragedy to regaining your happiness, 15 transformations. What did each one of those transformations shape you into? Because I believe each one of those chapters was a learning experience as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I thrive on learning, which I now, as I reflect back, I obviously know. But I think I learned two things along the way. I've been interviewed a lot over the years. And if there's two things that stand out in my mind, it's the two things that I embrace that I believe most people are afraid of. And that's change and risk. And when you think of the old cliche, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? Well, I had the worst thing that could happen. So
Right.
therefore, risk and change were not really a big deal to me. And that's why I think I would start new businesses without thinking about it. I would take risks without worrying about it. I would change cities without thinking about it. So I think those are two of the factors that certainly shaped me into what I am.
It's funny you talked about risk. I wrote something on social media today. It might have took some people the wrong way, but I'm like, why should I gamble on you if you're too afraid to gamble on yourself?
Yeah, a good quote, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
I
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mickey.
no, as you said, as I look back, I mean, I call it a defining moment because, at some point somebody said to me, do you think you would have become who you are or as successful as you are or any of those things had that not happened? I said, I don't know, but I think I do know that we have a lot inside of us, and I was forced to bring it out. And I think that's why ultimately one of my biggest career was as an inspirational speaker for 35 years. And it was kind of sharing with the audience that we all have untapped potential, and you don't have to wait for a tragedy like I have to dig deep and find it. And we can all find our happiness and our talents if we just kind of look inside. So that was a major message of sharing my story with the world and inspiring people.
Times have changed over the years. You know, you're a single mom at 29 years old and was married. How do you maneuver age factors, being a single mom and raising a son with no father? How do you manage to do that and keep everything in line? Because I'm pretty sure the end game was to hope he be raised by both parents and still have that father, stronger father presence. That is no longer in the picture now because you're focusing. How does that ever come into your midst? Is what I'm saying. Did you know that because he's getting older, so how do you can't mother him anymore? You got to the transition has to happen. How was you able to do that?
Andre, you just put one foot in front of the other and you just keep going. Life gives you challenges, and it's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it. And I just found out I'm the just type of person that I just keep one foot going forward and I don't look back in the past. The past is the past. I can't do anything about it. I've made mistakes along the way in business and personal, and I just keep going forward. It just continues to shape me as to who I am. I'm constantly trying to be the best version of myself, and that's what I would hope most people are trying to be. Even now, with my new career on social media, I see a recurring theme with people and confidence. I was very fortunate. I had a mom that instilled a lot of confidence in me at an early age. I was an outlier before they had a word for it. I was a brand before they had a word for it. And I think that's what attracts a lot of my followers right now is my confidence level. And I believe you can have that at any age. And I think that's one of the things a lot of people need to work on.
You had 15 career path changes. Which one was most impactful and which one was the least impactful and why?
They were all impactful in their own way. And the reason I say that is as I look back now, as my big career now is on social media, and somebody actually threaded the needle for me. They said, when you were a dance teacher, you were inspiring all these young people, not only as dancers, but as a female role model for them. And then when you were a professional speaker, you were inspiring thousands of people in your audiences. And now in social media, you have a stage of billions. So I guess I've always, and I own it now. I was a little trepidatious in the beginning, but I guess I've always been an influencer. And to be officially called one when that's what I did. So all my careers, what was gratifying for me was making an impact, making a difference, being a role model, being a mentor. And every one of my careers had that element. The one that was least successful and the least, whatever word you want to call it, was when I went into retail. I hated it. Nothing against people who are in retail, but it didn't have the creativity or the challenge that I obviously embraced in all my other careers. So that was an easy answer. All the rest of them I just loved.
You have been embraced by a lot of major celebrities. One Martha Stewart. Dude, how did you get in how did these people come into your universe? And then what did you learn from all these different celebrities? Which maybe one, two, or three had a lasting impact on you?
You know, I had my dance studio when I started it was in Westport, Connecticut. And Westport, Connecticut is like the Beverly Hills of the East Coast because we're an hour from New York City. So it's filled with celebrities. And my dance school it was called a dance class, a school of dance staffed by professionals. And actually, the backstory on that was it was the year that a chorus line opened. And one of my most famous students was an original in a chorus line, Wayne Salento, who
Wow.
went on to become very well known and choreographed Wicked on Broadway and lots of other things. And because of a chorus line, I named my studio a dance class in honor of Wayne. And then the celebrities who lived there, I had a very upscale, exclusive, it wasn't Miss Mickey's School of the Dance, let's put it that way, Andre. So the celebrities came in droves. Not only did I have Martha Stewart, I had Paul Newman's wife, Joanne Woodward, I had Erica Jong, who wrote Fear of Flying. I had Patty Hearst after that whole thing went down. I had the kids of Diana Ross. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So it was quite a time. But you know, each one of my careers has elements like that.
Yeah.
You know, I worked for Vistage International for 20 years. I was an independent contractor, but I coached CEOs for 20 years. And that was one of my most challenging and rewarding. I was a professional speaker for 35 years. So they're all great. Which one do you like the most? The one that I'm in. So now I'm in the new one. That's the one I like the most.
Let me ask you a question here. At 83, you are not just keeping up with the digital world. You sparked a TikTok explosion. How do you maintain that level of uncontainable energy?
You know, I have been blessed with this energy, Andre, since I can remember. And people often ask me that. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm high on life, and maybe it's because I have a positive attitude, and maybe it's because I exercise every day. But people ask me, you know, all the time, 83, and I'm an all natural 83, which is what got me flung into this new world to begin with. And when people ask me what my secret is, I've had four answers for the last 30 years. I don't know if that's it or not, but the answers go like this: exercise all the time, every day, supplements for 40 years, taking supplements, obsessive skincare, and a positive attitude. That's my recipe.
What
No
is
clue.
what is excessive skincare? What is that?
Meaning, I've always taken care of my skin. I'm not a soap and water splash on your face. I've always been reading up about the latest in creams and all different things that just nourish the skin, collagen and vitamin C. And so when I say obsessive skincare, I have a morning routine and a night routine, which I've done all the time. So when people ask me what my secret is, pick from those four or do all four like I do. I have no other answer. And
Let's talk,
energy comes from all that.
let's talk about that beautiful hairstyle. How long does it take to keep that in check?
Well, you know, I get a lot of comments too. People go, "It's a great wig. It's a great." I said, "No, no, no. I have hair. This is my hair, okay? But I wear a thing called a halo, which gives me extra length. So it's mixed in with my hair. So that's what and some days I just wear my hair, but lots of times when I'm doing things, I'll put the halo on. But I have wigs too. I have lots of wigs. I have red for Valentine's Day. I have green for St. Patty's Day. So I just like playing around with different looks.
My next question. What does aging outrageously actually look like in what does aging look like, particularly when the rest of the world tells you to slow down?
Yeah, again, it goes back to confidence. And a lot of what my followers are following me on is my fashion. I believe that I don't dress for approval. I dress for joy. I don't look to be average. I look to be unforgettable. I pick clothes that most people would say, you know, that age inappropriate. There's no such thing with me. As long as I look good in it and feel good in it, and I say to people, your opinion is none of my business as long as I look in the mirror and I like the way, I mean, I'm not shopping at Forever 21, but I still wear clothes that a lot of people would say, oh, no. And I'm just comfortable. I don't think about age when I dress or put makeup on or anything. I just feel what I makes me feel good and look good.
Now, I seen your significant other, and you
Yes.
guys really, when you guys talk about fashion and color, you guys are like, I guarantee you, when you both walk in somewhere, you're being noticed. How did you get him on board with your lifestyle? Was he kind of conservative when he met you? Were you what he expected? Because usually when you're meeting somebody, you're meeting a little bit of them. But I'm pretty sure when he got to know you, he was like, "Wow, what did I get here?"
Yeah, in his words, we are styling and profiling. Yeah, I pick all his clothes. I pick him out. Even, he's a tennis pro. I put out his tennis clothes the night before. Nobody dresses like him on a tennis court. He's what I call my muse. He's in great shape for being a tennis pro his whole life. He's very confident and he loves what I pick and he does get compliments. All we do as a couple. We actually do. We do.
You
And he
mentioned,
does too, from men. We
yeah,
went for ice cream last night. He's walking by. Guy says, "Man, I love your shirt." He gets it all the time.
you mentioned a key word here, a couple. What does it take to keep that alive at 83 years old? What does it take to really keep that relationship strong?
Well, we have date night every Saturday night. Someone just wrote on my page today, "I love that you have date night." Yeah, we get all dressed up, all gussied up, and we go out every Saturday night. I'm lucky, I married a very romantic man. And I am too. And we keep up the romance all the time. He just took me away for my birthday. I didn't know where I was going. I'm taking him this month. He has no idea where he's going. So we just love surprising each other. We love thoughtful little gifts. He'll send me a song during the day or a poem he'll write for me. Yeah, it never stops. We're still in the honeymoon phase.
Let me go to my next question. Between the front row seat at Paris, Milan, and the New York Fashion Week, how has your definition of personal style evolved over the decades?
Well, I think outrageous came from what everybody used to call me when I was more than outrageous. I was flamboyant. I was whatever. I was, yeah, out there. I was Dolly Parton on steroids. So the hair was really big. Oh, really big. The earrings were as big as the hair. I never met a sequin I didn't like. There were rhinestones and sparkle, which is still part of my whole outfit. But I guess I've toned down a little bit for the people who knew me back in the 70s and 80s, etc.
Right.
But I'm still on the edge. I still wear things that a lot of people say, "Oh, you look great," but I could never wear that.
Mhm.
Even my house, people would say, "Oh, it's fabulous," but I could never do that.
Right.
So I guess that's what I mean about that confidence thing. So my style has changed, but I'm always uh, leading the pack on the edge, a little funky, a little outrageous. Just it's who I am.
Now, how does the people that know you now look at you like? Have they slowed down a little? And how are they perceiving you now?
I think the same way they've always perceived me. I think they'd use the same words to describe me now as they did 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Outrageous?
Yeah, yeah, outrageous and just I don't know what other words there are, but they're flattering when they say them to me. And there's a common thread that goes through it, but it's authentic is a big one.
Yeah.
I've always been me. So
Mhm.
what you see on screen or what you see on stage or what you see on my posts,
Right.
they're authentically me. I've never felt the need to conform, and that's always been part of who I am also.
I like that. My next question is, you've built countless businesses, accomplishments, and running a foundation. What is the common thread between your entrepreneur drive?
I love challenge and I love growth and I love learning. And I think at all those careers, I've had that at different levels. And why have I had so many careers? Because I'm very goal oriented. And when I reach my goal, I get bored and it's time to sell the business, move on, start a new business, find something new. And even now with the social media and being this digital content creator, AKA influencer, the technology's killing me. I'm going, "Well, I'm 83 with these 20-year-olds like whipping through this stuff." So I get angry in a healthy way because I'm like, I should be able to do this.
Right.
So again, it stretches me, it pulls me. It's, when I coach the CEOs, I was coaching CEOs running companies 10,000 times bigger than I ever did.
Mhm.
And I love that because I was, again, in order to challenge them, I had to challenge myself. So I find in every career, it's the learning and the growth and the challenge that keeps me motivated. When that goes, I'm bored and I move on.
What's the difference between your generation and the entertainment field and the entrepreneur field versus today in the digital world? What has been the most challenging part for you, and was how difficult actually has it been? Because now you're on the social media feed. It's a whole different market. It's a whole different way of advertising. It's a whole different way of branding. What's the difference between now and then?
For me, there's no difference. The difference is, and I know this, I am the out front creative. I am not the behind the scenes logistic. So for me to be successful in all these careers is because I've had someone, whether it's an assistant or my husband or my friend or whatever, always the person behind me that makes me look good, makes me do my job easier and do it well, because I've come to realize what I'm good at. It's the same day that I realize, why am I mowing my lawn? That's not the best use of my time,
Right.
right? Why am I cleaning my house if I can be creating something? So I've always looked at tasks and realizing what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And I have three things I used to teach my CEOs. You either learn it, you hire it, or you delegate it. That's
Oh,
it.
oh, I'm 100% with that.
Yeah.
100%. My next question: parties with a purpose and
Okay.
goddess gathering take serious vision. How do you turn a social event into a movement?
That's a great question, Andre. People in my age bracket often volunteer. I don't know where it states in a book when you reach a certain age, you got to volunteer, but
Yeah.
it's kind of, you've had a great life and you start to give back. Again, I recognize in me, I'm not going to get up this morning and go to the local shelter and just give out food or something, but I want to give back. So I've created parties with a purpose, that I am volunteering with a flair, with fun, and the same way. So I did Socktoberfest, where everybody had to bring socks for the homeless. I ran a cooking class where we brought food and canned food for the homeless. Every party that I do would have a theme that people would either bring things or do things that recognize another charity or something. So that's my way of volunteering, have a purpose. I started a breakfast club years ago, and that's really popular. The first Monday of every month, we go to a restaurant. And no one knows at the restaurant. The owner will serve as nothing, and we each bring $50. And at the end of the meal, we give the server $700 to $1,000 tip.
Wow.
And they cry, we cry. I ask them their story. Sometimes the stories are so touching. We had a young girl pregnant at Christmas time. We had an immigrant who just got here. We had a guy saving money for law school. So that's one of my favorite parties with a purpose, the Breakfast Club.
What was the shock factor for you when you pretty much became an overnight sensation? Because you probably wasn't planning on this to happen. Then
No,
when it did
no.
happen, was there was there a game plan that you seem like the type of person when it happened, you capitalized off of it. What was that moment like when you finally hit that unexpected event? And then how was it now when you're out in public? Because clearly in Florida where you're at, everybody knows you.
It's funny that you even asked that, because every time someone asks me, it makes me laugh because I'm still thinking, What? I mean, it was such an innocent thing. I let go of Vistage, the coaching the CEOs. I retired from my speaking career. This October, I'm doing my last speakers school. I've phased out. I mean, I'm still coaching and everything, but I was phasing out of a lot of things. And a gal that I just met in my community, we went to have coffee to get to know each other. In the middle of the conversation, she said, "You should go on TikTok." I said, "Why would I do that? That's for 20-year-olds." She said, "Well, you're very inspiring and they need inspiration." So I went home that night. I hired the 17-year-old of a friend of mine who came over, and I said, "Well, what do we do?" Because I'd never even seen it. She says, "Well, we'll make a video." I said, "About what?" She says, "I don't know. What's interesting in your house?" I said, "Oh, my closet. Everybody wants to see my closet." So she turns the camera on, and I didn't plan it, Andre. Out of my mouth, I go, "Hi, I'm Mikki. I'm new to TikTok. I'm an 82-year-old, all natural person. Welcome to my closet." So she calls me 3 hours later and she says, "You're trending." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" She says, "Well, people like it. They're sharing it." And I'm like, "Oh, that's nice."
Yeah.
I get up the next morning and she calls me and says, "You have 1.2 million views." I said, "Is that good?" And now here I am, 9 months later, with like 100,000 followers, brands reaching out to me, doing all gifting every day. I mean, it's crazy. Every day I wake up and I keep going, "This is crazy."
Yeah, that is. Let me go to the next question. Wellness, beauty, digital creation requires constant reinventing. What keeps you curious about the next big thing?
I think curiosity is one of those things that just is part of my DNA. Just like I recognize that I need growth and challenge and learning, curiosity is what keeps me, it's the fuel in my tank. It's even why I'm sticking with this career. I'm not a quitter. I didn't like it in the beginning, and I said, "Why am I doing this? I don't need the for fun. It's got to have a purpose." And I didn't know what the purpose was. And I went down a few different paths that I did not like and did not feel good. And if it doesn't feel good, I recognize it now. And then finally, I got to a place where I went, "Aha, now I know him." I found out about this, and that's the curiosity. And I found out I asked a lot of questions. I meet a lot of people. I contact people who are doing it. I'll hire a coach for myself. I mean, there's no end to how I'll feed my own curiosity. And that's what gets me into the career. It's that the fire is lit once my curiosity is satisfied, or it's at least stoked, and I
Mm.
figure, "Oh, now I could find out more about this." And that's where I am with this now. I found my place, I found where I'm going, I found my person. It's all good.
How do you keep, you mentioned everybody sending you gifts, wanting you to be a brand in this. When I look at TikTok, I see more of a somebody always selling. I don't see messages. I don't really see purpose. I see everybody trying to panhandle a piece of merchandise. How do you keep yourself from being a part of that environment and keep what you're trying to do, your purpose, in check? Not saying that I don't think you should brand something, but when you look at TikTok now, it's pretty much everybody is selling something. You don't even understand what a person is doing, what their brand is, but they're quick about selling a product. How do you keep yourself different from that aspect to keep authentic Nikki Gogo separate?
It's a great question, Andre, but to answer it, you also have to understand that I'm now on not just TikTok, but also Instagram and Facebook. And I like to say it's generational when you think the TikTok is the younger generation and Instagram is the majority, I think, of my people. And
Mhm.
Facebook are kind of the older people who, Facebook are people who like to see the social aspects and everything like that. So as I'm on all three, and to your point about that, I sell products that I use, that I love, that I'm authentic about.
Okay.
I turn down more things than that come my way, because if it's not something if I try it and I love it, I'm not selling it, I'm sharing it. And there's a big difference. I mean,
Mm.
this week I am doing a fashion show every single night. Bought a red runway carpet in my house,
I
and
saw that.
I'm promoting Alice and Olivia. Now, that's a brand of clothing that I've worn for so long, and I love their clothing. And so I made that into a fashion show. So it's real. Oh, yes, people can go and buy it on my link in my shop, but the point is, this is what I wear.
Hmm.
So it's the same thing if I'm sharing a facial product or a protein that I put in my shakes every day. Mine are authentic. It's
Okay.
not because someone approached me. It's because I've either used it or I've tried it and I want to share it, not sell
Okay. My next question. Wow, I got a lot of questions here, Nikki.
it.
So here we go. When you look back at everything you have overcome, what challenges taught you the most about who you are today?
Well, the one that, the defining moment when I became a young widow is probably the biggest one, but I've had other challenges along the way. I was embezzled. I was a victim of a Ponzi scheme when I turned 50 and I had sold my last business and he took everything. So I was starting from scratch at 50. So you learn who you are as you go through life. I had breast cancer. I'm a 15-year survivor of breast cancer. I had my share of challenges, and like we all do. I don't think I'm any different than anybody. But I said some point to someone after my husband had passed away about how I was surviving and thriving with my son Jason. And I said I didn't have a choice, and they said to me, "Oh yes, you did. You could have had a lifelong pity party, but you chose to get up and make a life for yourself and your son." And that was a big statement. I never forgot the person who told me that. So I think every step, every day that God keeps me on this earth, Andre, I am learning, I'm growing, I'm finding out who I am and just embracing it.
You mentioned breast cancer. What was that like for you? And what were there moments where you really maybe thought about, giving up or what? What was that like for you? What was that moment?
Andre, you've been with me for how long? Me give up? Come on,
I
babe.
know.
No. What were you thinking with that question?
But when somebody gives you that
Oh, when you hear
diagnosis,
those words, when
yeah,
you
but
hear
when
those
somebody gives you that
words,
diagnosis and you're still young, like there did you ever break in any moment of your life outside of your husband passing?
I'm sure I have, but I don't focus on that. I just focus on the good stuff. I even when I had breast cancer, I had a tumor coming out party online. I
What?
had I called it a tumor coming out party. I invited all my friends to give me their favorite songs so I can make a playlist when I went into surgery. Oh, they sent songs like Tits and Ass and I Will Survive and all these songs. So I had a playlist. I, I, yeah. So I even approached that with a sense of humor. I
Right.
drew a smiley on my boobs so when the surgeon opened the thing, he'd laugh before he started operating. I mean, it was March 20th. I remember I wrote an email and told everybody to stop what they're doing at 12 o'clock on March 20th and send good vibes into the universe,
Yeah,
as opposed to the people who came there for the same treatments I did, who sat there waiting to die. That is not my MO.
I love that. Let me go to my next question. Okay. Your son overcoming his own challenges is part of your family story. How was watching him shape your perspective and resilience?
It's a challenge as a single mom for anybody, whether you have one kid or 10 kids. And, as you said, without a father, it's even more challenging sometimes. So you have to kind of ride with it and see what happens. And just, I like to look back and think I'm sure I made mistakes. What parent doesn't look back and see that? But my son is a wonderful young man today, and I'm very proud of him. So, whatever bumps along the road there were, I like to look at who he is today. Again, I'm not someone who goes back to the past to figure out what happened. I'm just totally future. I'm present. I'm not past. I'm not future.
Yeah,
I'm living in the present. I love the now, as Jimmy Buffett sang the song.
I love that, Mickey. Love it. My next question, one more question after this one. From cooking and entertaining to global travel, how do you infuse joy, lifestyle into every single day?
Well, I love people, so that certainly helps because if you love people and you meet so many interesting people and you find other characteristics in people you love, and maybe it rubs off on you or you get to share something with them. I mean, my speaking career took me all over the world, and I loved interacting in all the different countries with the different cultures and food. I'm a foodie, so I love food and I love restaurants and I love dining and I love traveling to different places and trying all new things I've never tried before. So I just seem to find in every aspect of life there the curiosity to your point earlier and the joyful part of it. Life's too short
Yeah,
to do otherwise. So, don't get me wrong. People used to say, "You're an inspirational speaker. Do you ever get depressed?" Of course,
right.
I'm human. I get sad, but I get out of it. I don't stay in it. I tend to look at all the things I do have instead of the things that I don't have or the things I struggled with. I don't think I'm different than anybody else in that regard.
Now, I just got to ask this before I ask my last question. I love your decor. So this is probably two part question. What is that style called? Because it's clearly I love the style. I love the classic lines. I love the out of the box thinking when it comes to the lamp that's in your uh, kitchen area.
Oh, okay.
Even the glass stuff that's on the wall. I mean, if you had to label your interior style of your home, what would it be called?
I need time. That's a great question. I don't know. I think it's contemporary with a twist or a little bit of funk, a little bit of outrageousness. Again, the same kind of feeling that I have about my fashion and my style. I applied in my house. I'm not afraid to take things that meant to go on a wall and put them on a ceiling.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I found a great artist. We bought a lot of his stuff. It's so different. He makes women out of broken glass. So yeah, I don't know. It's Mickey style.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I like. Mickey, my last question. If someone is sitting at home feeling stuck or invisible, what is the exact first step to stepping into their own global inspiration?
Get out. Get out of the house. Go meet people. Join a dance class. Take a yoga class. Go for a walk. Go to your church. Just get out. Get out of your head. Get out of your own head and start doing things. And one of the things I'm passionate about is we talk about volunteerism, and I know this for a fact, Andre. If you're lacking in self esteem, you should definitely be volunteering. Volunteerism, it's a known fact, raises one's self esteem. So if someone's depressed, someone's in their own head, and you love dogs, go volunteer at Paws. You love food, go to the homeless kitchen. Go just get out of yourself and do something for someone else. It's the best way to raise your self esteem. And I think that's part of my confidence today. I've been doing that since I can't even remember when. And they were always fun, but I was doing it way back when. Volunteer in some way. That's my message.
I love it. What's next for you before we wrap up? What's on your agenda? I know the world. I don't even know why I asked this question. I can answer. Wait a minute. I can answer this question for you, Mickey. What's next for you? The world.
Sitting front row at Versace or Dior or Chanel or modeling in a fashion show or going to New York Fashion Week or I'm an MC at the Four Seasons event in November. I'm in a fashion show in 3 weeks. So anything that has to do with the world of fashion and beauty, that's what I want. I
I,
put it out to the universe.
I like it. I like it. How can the viewers reach out to you and follow you on social media and know more about you and your beautiful journey?
Thank you, Andre. Well, on TikTok, it's at Mickey Gogo, and Mickey is spelled Mikki. And guess why the Gogo? A friend nicknamed me Gogo because I'm always on the go. So it's Mickey Gogo. And Instagram, it's Mickey Williams, my name, but it also has unlimited, abbreviated UNLTD, Mickey Williams Unlimited on Instagram. And on Facebook, it's Mickey Williams dot Chicago. See, I still have the Midwest.
Yeah,
And then if you can't find any of that, I have a website, mickeywilliams.com. But I'm all over the place. You'll find me.
I love it. Mickey, thank you so much for taking time out to come on the show and share such a great beast mindset story. I want you guys to make sure you click follow, touch that button. All it takes is one click to make a difference in your life or change somebody else's. This has been another, and I do mean another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Creighton Show.